Hello and welcome to Tropical RV Sales, located in Fort Pierce, Florida since 1990. We'd like to thank you for stopping by our website. On this website, you'll find our inventory, you'll find prices, pictures, and videos. And in this segment, we'd like to give you a look at why Rockwood is your best choice. I'm going to go ahead and get started with a summary overview of the topics we're going to be discussing. So if you're pressed for time, check out the summary and come back later. After the summary, it's going to roll into the detailed or full-length video that's going to go into much greater detail about the summary topics and going to explore some additional items as well. Okay, just a little bit about us to get started. We are a factory authorized dealer located in Fort Pierce, Florida since 1990. We charge no dealer fees. When some dealers charge close to $1,000, we charge zero. We offer free dealer prep, again, a service that some dealers charge hundreds of dollars for, we do for no charge. And we offer you the wholesale pricing, the best prices on the best products. The first Rockwood advantage I want to talk about is the upgraded construction. Rockwood is 6-sided aluminum framing, so your structure is all aluminum frame, your roof, your floor, your sidewalls, your front and rear walls. And for comparison, most manufacturers' products that claim to be aluminum frame, they could only be aluminum frame sidewalls, so there can be some big differences in construction. Also, Rockwood uses tongue and groove plywood in the floor, plywood in the roof, areas that many manufacturers use the cheap inferior particle board. Another big Rockwood advantage is the cabinetry. The cabinets are upgraded solid wood. Many of the doors are solid wood with the solid wood raised panels. The drawer fronts are solid wood drawer fronts. The cabinet fronts are screwed wood. These are areas that you're going to find many inferior components. Most manufacturers use the particle board cabinet fronts. They use particle board cabinet doors with just vinyl wrapping. The drawers are inferior, and there's simply not as many doors or drawers. So Rockwood offers you a lot more quality in this area. There are many upgraded features on the Rockwood that make the coach more usable and therefore more enjoyable to use. One area you see that is with the underbed storage. You have superior materials and designs that make it more usable. For instance, you have the aluminum frame beds with the full extension drawers. And you compare that to other products that have particle board under the bed. The beds aren't accessible or not easily accessible. They don't have the separation between the larger compartment and the drawers. Again, you're going to find inferior quality, workmanship, materials, components, and other products when you start comparing them to what Rockwood gives you. So Rockwood has a lot of great upgraded features, and another example of that are the solid surface kitchen countertops. Other manufacturers may use the old style laminate. Bad because they are affected by moisture. If they get a hold of water, they're going to swell, and there's no fix for that besides replacement. The Rockwood solid surface kitchen countertops are going to look good, they're going to last, and you can see you even get a great countertop extension in many of the models, which gives you a lot more workable counter space when you need it. So this is a big upgrade you definitely want to look for. Rockwood uses the independent rubberized torsion axles on all of their travel trailers and fifth wheels. Far superior to the traditional leaf spring suspension, so much so that the Airstream Classic, they start at $139,900. That's $140,000. They use independent rubberized torsion suspension, same as what you'll find on the Rockwoods. So there are a lot of upgraded exterior features on the Rockwood, many of which are easy to overlook. But one I wanted to point out, that such a small but big convenience feature, again, easy to overlook, the magnetic catches. It makes for one-handed operation in and out of your compartments, loading and unloading your cargo, and they don't break or rip out of the unit like the standard compartment door catches that you'll find on other products. I want to point out now the windshields on the Rockwoods, because this is an expensive piece that Rockwood gives as standard equipment, and it gives a great look, but they do more. They really add to the interior spaciousness. So on the larger units, it may be the bedroom, really helps open up your bedroom, and on the smaller units, it's really going to add to the spaciousness of the interior or your living space. They look great, and they don't require any guards or shields. So it's an automotive style windshield like you'll have on your car or your truck. And then you look at other products that don't have any front window, or maybe they do, and it's an old style window that has to have the rock guard. That's really a pain to deal with. So the windshields on the Rockwood, take a look at them. They look great, but they really enhance the interior spaciousness. And here we have the upgraded frameless windows. They're called frameless because you can't see the frame. All you see is the smooth glass finish. So it really is a great aesthetic enhancement. These windows were originally used on only the most expensive motor coaches and fifth wheels and such. Rockwood is using them on pretty much all of their travel trailers and fifth wheels, and it gives a real premium finish and look. But there are benefits. I mean, this is something that's going to be long lasting, so you're going to have a great long lasting look, and they actually have superior designs and better seals, such as the gasket seal. So you look at old style windows that show age and have a lot of inherent issues. These look great, and they're going to look great for a long time to come. Okay, so that concludes our summary overview. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to know more, please stay tuned, because I'm going to roll into the full-length version, which is going to give you a lot more insight into the product, much more of a detailed look at the topics that I mentioned here, and also some things that I didn't get a chance to mention. If you are shopping for an RV, regardless of whether or not you think you're going to be interested in this particular product, it's still worth looking at, because it'll help point out some of the things that you should be looking at in other products, so you have a better idea of what you're getting. And again, thanks for watching, and I hope you stay tuned for the full length, which is rolling now. Before we get started, I'd like to tell you a little bit about ourselves. At Tropical RV Sales, we don't charge any dealer fees. We also offer free dealer prep, and we give you wholesale pricing on the products that we sell. I know of dealers that charge $995 as a dealer fee. That's an extra $1,000 out of your pocket for services that we provide at no extra charge. We also perform the dealer preparation, or the pre-delivery inspection and testing, for no extra cost. The units, before they get delivered, they need to be tested. Any adjustments or repairs that are necessary, we go ahead and perform those before you take delivery under warranty. We also give you a new deep cycle battery installed. We also fill the propane tanks and give you a basic starter kit. We answer all of your questions. We give the demonstration on how the components work when you take delivery. This is something that other dealers may charge several $100s for, and again, that's hundreds of dollars extra out of your pocket. Plus, we offer you the wholesale pricing, saving you $1,000 on the purchase of the unit. We give you the wholesale pricing on the unit without the dealer fees, and that's a combination that other dealers don't offer. They may offer you an attractive upfront price with the fees, or they may just be higher on the price and charge you the fees, and that's quite common too. At Tropical RV Sales, no dealer fees, free dealer prep, wholesale pricing. And now let's get into some of the top reasons that make Rockwood your best choice. We're going to start with construction. Rockwood is an aluminum framed unit, and that's very common to hear. You're going to see stickers on the sides of units that say aluminum framed. So it's easy for manufacturers' literatures or for salesmen to point out a unit and say, yep, this is an aluminum frame unit. Most aluminum frame units have only aluminum framing on the sidewalls. That's why it's important to note that Rockwood has aluminum framing for all 6 structural components, or all 6 sides. You have your roof, your floor, your front wall, your rear wall, and both side walls. Each one of those structural components is aluminum framed. Now when you get to the slide outs, even the sides of the slides are aluminum framed also. So let's take a look at these components individually. We have the Rockwood floor, very strong floor. It's aluminum framed with 5/8 of an inch tongue and groove plywood decking. Now the decking is glued to the aluminum. It's also screwed to the aluminum. They glue it down to prevent it from, making noise, creaking when you walk on it, but it also gives you a lot of strength. Plywood is used. That's very important. Most floors use particle board. Particle board is a much cheaper, inferior material. It's going to suck up moisture, especially around the cut edges, and that's, if you're going to have water intrusion, they're going to come in around the edges. So it's very possible that you're going to get rotten floors from the particle board that you wouldn't get if you had a higher quality material on the floor, like the 5/8 of an inch tongue groove plywood. Now moving down, you see a picture of the sidewall with the water stacked on top of it. Rockwood sidewalls are aluminum framed. They also are vacuum bonded laminated construction. So it's a very strong, very lightweight construction method. It is foam insulation, not the fiberglass insulation. And you can see on that span there with all that weight on it how strong it is. So you get a solid wall. If you bang on a laminated wall, it's solid. It doesn't feel soft or squishy. So you get a lot of strength and a lot of quality from the lamination process, the foam insulation, again superior to the fiberglass insulation, especially in the walls where it can sag. So you have the aluminum framed walls, and then the roof, very strong roof. Roof is very important. Rockwood's roof is 4 inches thick. It is solid foam insulation, a lot of benefits to that. It is your aluminum frame structure. It is the laminated structure, and it's fully walkable. So unlike a truss roof, you don't have weak spots between the trusses. The entire roof is strong and sturdy to walk on for maintenance and cleaning. The decking, again, plywood, not particle board. The roof decking is another area a lot of manufacturers use the cheap particle board, where Rockwood uses plywood. Now the AC ducts go right through the foam, so it's more efficient that way. It cools down faster because of that. And I've noticed that it also keeps the AC quiet, or more quiet on the interior of the coach. It's not as noisy as you have in your basic truss roof construction. So big upgrade on the Rockwood construction, all aluminum framing, all 6 sides, laminated sidewalls, laminated roof structure. The roofs of the slides, to take it a little bit further, those will be laminated aluminum framed, and they're very strong. Again, if you want to know if something's laminated, just kind of beat on it with your fist. It'll be solid, so you don't get the sagging roofs that collect water, which is really bad for it's going to cause leaks. So your slide room construction, again, if you bang on the sides of the slide, it's solid laminated aluminum frame. The roofs of the sides, the sidewalls of the coach. When you start looking at other products a little bit closer, what you're probably going to find is a so-called aluminum frame unit is only going to have aluminum framing in the sidewalls. That means the roof potentially wood framed. The floors potentially have wood joists. And then other components like the slide rooms are going to be constructed of wood, and the front and rear walls. And these are RVs, so they're built light. So typically what you're dealing with is 1x2s or 2x2s at best, and a lot of times they're stapled together, and you don't have the precision and the quality that comes along with the lamination, or the quality that comes along with the higher quality materials that Rockwood uses in their construction. Okay, so we've taken a look at Rockwood's construction. Now let's take a look at their upgraded cabinetry. Rockwood is just an upgraded coach inside and outside. Everywhere you're going to look, you're going to find better quality workmanship and higher quality materials. And the cabinetry is a big part of that. So Rockwood's cabinetry is far superior to most that you'll find. And you're also going to find that there's more of it. There's more cabinet doors. There's more shelves. There's more drawers. And that stuff is very important. So when you're looking on paper, a lot of the floor plans may look similar. But when you go into them and start looking at them, that's when you'll start noticing, the difference in the quality, the difference in the quality of materials, the quality of workmanship, and the fact that they're typically going to be missing a lot of things. They're missing lighting, they're missing outlets, they're missing wall switches, and they're also missing a lot of storage that you find in the Rockwood. The Rockwood's cabinet doors are solid wood, and most of them have the raised panel insert, so it's just really superior to what you'll find in most units. So open a door, tap on it with your knuckles, look at the way it's put together, and then look at the finish on it. Just a really high-end cabinet door that you would find in very expensive residential kitchens. The drawers, you're going to find more drawers in the Rockwood, and they're full extension drawers. So you have more storage and easier access to that storage. Also, the drawers are wood. A lot of drawers themselves are, again, vinyl wrapped particle board. The drawer fronts, solid wood drawer fronts. Now, the cabinet fronts, again, in Rockwood, big upgrade. They're screwed wood styles. So they're glued and screwed together for extra strength. Compare that to other units, and I have a few pictures here. If you look at the cabinet door, it looks, I mean, it's hard to tell from looking at it. Again, when you see these in person and you listen to what I'm describing, you'll be able to identify this. But that door, for instance, there, that is it just has a framing to it with a very thin insert or very thin center panel. Now, the framing on there looks like a wood grain, but what it is actually vinyl that is wrapping, the very cheap particle board or fiber board. And then if you look, which you can't really see unless you're really looking for it or you kind of put your phone in there or something and shine a light, the cabinets are the same thing. They're vinyl wrapped particle board and they're stapled. They're not made to be repaired. They can be affected, of course, by moisture because that stuff really soaks up the moisture. And when it does, when it gets wet, when it's exposed to moisture, it's going to swell. And because they're stapled together, there's not a good or an easy way to fix them. It kind of becomes a mess. So, look for these things. Even nicer units on the market, may have like on their cabinet doors or drawers, they may actually have like a real wood framing, but they'll have a very thin insert. And when you open the doors, they kind of, bang around and make a noise. And again, on the wood cabinets, on the cabinet styles, they're going to be that staple particle board or even screwed particle board. So just a lot of upgrades with Rockwood's cabinet doors, with the drawers, with the cabinetry. And again, that stuff's important because when you're traveling, you need a place to put the things that you need to bring. And the longer you're traveling, the more you need to bring. So there's a lot of products, a lot of floor plans that Rockwood offers that are actually used by folks that go on extended travels that wouldn't be able to use similar floor plans made by other manufacturers because they don't give you the storage that you need and they don't give you the quality components that folks need for longer travels. And a lot of these things too are things that second, third time buyers would have an easier time picking out that first time buyers wouldn't necessarily know to look for. So if you're looking for an RV and it's your first one and you want a quality RV, and that's what I'm trying to show you in this video, is what to look for and show you what Rockwood has that a lot of other products don't give you. Okay, we were just talking about Rockwood's upgraded cabinetry, and kind of on the same topic, I want to tell you about the under bed feature. So under the bed is kind of a great area to see what materials other manufacturers are using. Lift up the bed and see what you're looking at there, because if you find inferior stuff there, you're going to find it in places that you don't want it, in places that you can't easily see. So Rockwood, again, you lift up the bed, very high quality. The beds are aluminum framed. So usually on the beds you'll have outside storage too, and the outside storage compartments are aluminum framed. I show you some pictures here of what you're going to find that make it, again, it's going to show you just the higher quality materials, which give you a higher quality RV, higher quality product, but also the features that they give you that make these RVs so much more usable and much more enjoyable to use. You lift up a Rockwood bed, first of all, it's going to hold itself open. And the shocks or the props, they go into the aluminum and they don't pull out like a lot of times the shocks will break when they're into the wood frame beds because they use such thin wood framing under there and particle board a lot of times. So they screw it in and the wood will split, or they screw it into the particle board and of course it's going to rip out. So Rockwood uses the aluminum framework for their beds. The shocks are stout enough to actually hold the bed up, so you can lift up the bed. The bed's not going to try to come down and hit you while you're trying to load it. Also, what you'll find are drawers. So on the bed slides, I have a picture there of the bed slides, just huge, massive drawers that pull out. So you don't actually have to lift the bed to access all that space under the bed. So you have the really big drawers, and then you have a separation between the interior drawers, which are your inside access storage, and then the outside storage behind there. You have separation. Now on your fixed beds, again, you're going to find the aluminum framing. You're going to find the shocks hold the bed open, and up top there's a really nice separate compartment for larger items, like if you want to put blankets and sheets and towels, or shoes or whatever. You got a great place for that. And then when the bed's folded, you have easy access to those drawers. You can see there are 3 full extension drawers. Again, the upgraded drawers, full extension, and it's a great storage for smaller items, especially socks and stuff like that. So you have a place for your bigger items, your smaller items, and you kind of get the idea of how much more usable that is compared to what you see down there below the inferior materials. The one of them doesn't have any type of support or kickstand on it, so there's really not a great way to use that compartment. It's pretty much unusable. And then the other one does have a shock on it, but again, you can see the small wood framing. The fact that it's just a big open compartment is not very usable. I mean, just stacking stuff on top of itself is very difficult to access, especially in a place like that under the bed. So again, when you're looking at other products, look in places, lift up things, look underneath. The beds, the dinettes, and the Rockwoods are all aluminum framed, and these are areas you're going to find inferior materials, inferior designs on other products. Another great Rockwood upgrade are the solid surface kitchen countertops. So the solid surface is great because they're never going to, bow or warp or separate or swell. And that is the case on a lot of the laminated countertops in RVs. I mean, especially like we're down here in Florida, a lot of heat, a lot of humidity. You have the bigger countertops in the kitchen area. A lot of times the laminates, they can sag. You're using, of course, the kitchen sink to do dishes and stuff like that. The laminated countertops, they have edges and seams, and basically what they are is like a piece of plastic glued to particle board. So when that particle board is exposed to humidity, it can lose its strength. When it's exposed to moisture, when it gets wet, it'll suck that water up, and then it'll swell, and it just looks terrible. And there's really nothing you can do except replace the countertop. You don't want to be doing that. So the solid surface countertop is going to last. It's going to look good. It's not going to swell or separate when it gets wet. It's the same on the bottom as it is on the top. And it looks really good, but it's going to last. It's going to look good, and last at the same time. So big benefit there. The pictures you can see down below. That's a common laminated countertop. It's got a trim that goes around the edge, and that goes into the particle board, and that's a place that's going to suck up moisture. Where the sink goes in, that's a cutout. That's a great place for it to suck up moisture, and you can see there what it's actually made of. If you were to look under the sink or under into the bottom side of that laminated countertop, it's particle board, and that stuff just cannot take high moisture, and it can't get wet because it's going to swell up. Now, a lot of the models too in the Rockwood, they have a matching countertop extension. So they have the solid surface countertop extension. I mean, that itself, if you're going to add that after the fact or try to get something like that, I mean, that's a piece that would cost you several $100s in itself. $200-300 easy for a quality piece like that. So they're about 22-24 inches long. They give you a lot of usable space when you need it. You can store them away when you don't need it. So again, a great value on the models that will support the extension, and that's included. And the high gloss solid surface countertops, again, non-porous, not affected by water. It's a great Rockwood upgrade. Now, this is a big important upgrade that Rockwood gives you, and a lot of people don't know it exists or don't know to look for it. We're talking about the Dexter Torflex. It's the independent rubberized torsion suspension axles. Rockwood gives you these upgraded axles, and other manufacturers used to do it and they cut it out because of the expense. They're using the cheaper basic leaf springs, and again, they can get away with it because a lot of people don't know to look for the torsion. They maybe don't have any experience with it. Also, too, it's not uncommon to test tow these rigs before you buy them. So, like you test drive a car, and you're going to notice the difference between one car rides compared to the next. Well, if you were to test tow these Rockwoods with the torsion axles and then test tow a sprung axle RV, which is the majority of them out there, again, you're going to prefer the torsion, and you're going to be a lot happier towing the torsion. That's the thing with these RVs. They're made to be traveled, so the way they travel, how they feel when you're traveling is very, very important. So the torsion axles, a lot of benefits to them. You can kind of see what they look like here on this flyer in this picture. But one important thing is that there's no metal-on-metal contact with the suspension. So you have the heavy-duty steel tube, which, as I mentioned here, actually acts as a load-carrying crossmember. So it gives you a lot of strength to the frame, and it's a load-carrying crossmember. So it helps carry the load of the unit. as well. But inside the tube, they have the rubber bushings that the inside arm, works off of. So there's metal on rubber, there's not metal on metal. And you get a lot better shock absorption from again, the rubberized torsion than without the metal on metal contact. Leaf springs, if you've ever heard people towing a unit when you're on the outside of the unit or next to them, the leaf springs are quite noisy, and the reason is there's metal on metal contact. Now, the cool thing with the torsion also is that even on the same axle, each wheel is independent of the other. So let's say your passenger side wheel hits something or maybe goes off the road. The driver's side doesn't feel that. So it's going to give you a lot more stability, especially when the road conditions aren't so great. And thanks to the rubberized suspension, it does a much better job at reducing the shock and keeping the shock from being transferred to the RV into the cargo. So it's a lot easier on the RV itself, and it's a lot easier on your cargo. And they do tow better. Again, you don't typically get to test tow them. But if you did, a lot more manufacturers, I think, would be forced to put the torsion on there, as opposed to they've been able to get away with the cheaper leaf springs, because more manufacturers did used to offer them. Who offers them now? This is kind of a fun fact. One of the few other products that you can get a rubberized torsion axle on in the RV industry is actually the Airstream. And for instance, the Airstream Classic has a starting sticker price of $139,000, $140,000. So, it's on the high-end luxury unit, and other units don't give it to you, again, because of the cost. But you do get it in the Rockwood, so don't overlook it. It's a very great feature. If you want to, look underneath the units, and you're going to see basically what I'm showing you there in the diagram. And you're going to see a little sticker on the side of the Rockwood. So any unit that you're looking at, ask them, does this unit have torsion axles or does it have leaf springs? And they're probably not going to want to tell you the answer, but you're going to be hard to find another one that gives you the rubberized torsion axles. Okay, I want to tell you about the magnetic catches that Rockwood use. It's such a little thing. I mean, it's so easy to overlook, and you don't appreciate them unless you've had experience with the standard baggage door catches, and you kind of know, the problems associated with them. I mean, these catches are designed to hold your outside compartments open, and they swing upward. So you need something to hold them back against the side of the unit, or it's going to be real difficult to get stuff in and out of there. So the solution is the baggage door catch. Now, most units, you're going to find the old style clips. And the downside is, well, there's actually several, as I show you here. But one thing, I mean, you're going to be in and out of these compartments a lot, and to open your compartment door and secure it with the traditional clip, it requires two hands. So anything you have in your hands, you're going to have to put it down, you're going to have to open the door, and then you're going to have to hold the door open, and then with the other hand, you're going to have to open the clip and secure the clip around the compartment door. So it's a big inconvenience. And then when you go to close the door, again, typically it's a two-handed operation. You open the clip with one hand and you lower the door with the other hand. So again, you wouldn't think much about them, but the magnetic catches are just such a huge convenience feature. I wanted to highlight that here. You're carrying stuff out to your compartment. Maybe you got a couple things. You can switch it over to your arm or your one hand, open the compartment, and it sticks. And it's just as simple as that. And you want to close it, you don't have to loosen anything. You just grab it, pull it down, and you can close it. And that's the thing with the clips. A lot of times, you get in a hurry and you try to close it and the clip hasn't been disengaged and you break the clip. Or as you can see, the clip actually pulls out of the unit, so now you have damage, and that's a problem. And the clips, they get brittle over time and they'll break and get to replace them, and it's a problem. So it's such a little thing, something you would overlook, but you really appreciate it when you have them. It's a pain if you don't. And, this is something you could potentially retrofit to a camper that didn't have it, but that's going to be a problem because you got screw holes that don't line up. You got sealant on there and holes in the unit that don't match. You got to cover those up. And then just buying the magnetic catches. I mean, you could spend several $100s and several hours trying to retrofit a camper to the magnetic if the doors would support them. Some of them, they may not work. So the fact that they're factory installed from Rockwood, again, just shows you how much value that you get. A lot of it's easily overlooked, but you really do appreciate it when you actually use the camper, because the camper, again, easier to use, more enjoyable to use also. Okay, now I'd like to turn your attention to Rockwood's windshield. And this is a pretty new piece of equipment. I really, really like them. I mean, I really have always liked what the front windows do for the interior of the unit. There was some, cons that came along with the old style front windows, but this is really it right here. This is an automotive style windshield. So it's an actual windshield like on the front of your car or truck. I mean, it's a really high-end piece, and you'll find it on the mini lights, you'll find it on the ultra lights, and you'll find it on the signatures. And a lot of times, I mean, this is something that you wouldn't get unless you paid a lot more for it. There's no flaps or guards to have to worry about to cover the window for travel, and that was a disadvantage with the old style windows. I mean, these are large windows, and they really do make a big difference. So, on the smaller units, you definitely want them to feel as spacious as possible, and the front window, or windshield in this case, is a big contributor to that. It really opens up the smaller units, makes them feel so much more spacious. Now, on the bigger units, a lot of times you're going to have your bedroom up there, and the bedroom would be a smaller room, but again, the front windshield really opens it up and makes it feel a lot more spacious. It's not so closed in, it's not dark up there like the units without the front windows or windshields. So a lot of units, especially the smaller units, like people would compare floor plans to the mini lights, they don't even give you a window. If you do have a window, it's gonna pretty much going to be the old style with the flap, and you have to open those. You have to go to one side and latch it, go to the other side, latch it, lift it up, secure it, go to the other side, lift it up, secure it, and do it a couple times till you get that flap where you want it, and it's still not exposing, but 20-30% of the window, and then you got to do the reverse to close it down and secure it for travel. So the windshields, I mean, they look great. It's a really high-end piece, but they really do make a big difference. So when you walk in other units, I think you'll notice that if they don't have any type of front window at all, it's just so dark up there, and a lot of times that's where the bed is, and you feel really confined up in that space. So the windows and now the new windshields are the solution to that, and it really enhances the exterior look. I think it looks really sleek, really modern, and you don't have to worry about any of the rock guards or flaps or clips or opening and closing and all that stuff that you had to do with the old style windows. So big advantage, I think, and a lot of products out there aren't going to give that to you. Okay, we just talked about the front windshield, and kind of keeping in that theme, I wanted to point out the windows on the Rockwood. These are the tinted frameless windows. Again, more of an automotive style, automotive look. A lot of benefits to them that you might not really think just by at a glance. I mean, again, I really like the look of them. These units first came out on the most expensive units on the market, really high-end luxury motor coaches and fifth wheels and stuff like that. And Rockwood is using them, on the mini lights, on the ultras, on the signatures, across the board, on the roofs, and it's just a really high-end look across the board. But there are some benefits. I mean, the frame, they're called frameless, not because they don't have a frame, but basically none of the frame is exposed. So you just see that smooth, clean, dark tinted window without any of the metal framework. You don't have any of the rubber glazing or molding like I show in some of the pictures here. If it's a white window, which a lot of manufacturers have gotten away from because they look so bad, and then they show age even on dealers' lots. The molding turns colors, it shows mold and mildew, it shrinks and leaves gaps. So a lot of the manufacturers are using black windows. It doesn't really draw your attention to it as much. And a lot of people, at a glance, may overlook that and not notice much of a difference between the frameless and then the blacked out windows. But the black windows, again, they have the rubber trim. It shrinks. It can peel. It may need to be replaced. Have more maintenance on it. And they just, they're a regular looking RV window. I mean, they don't give you that sleek automotive look. So, but again, beyond the look, you don't have the rubber molding to deal with. You don't have any of that stuff, to get dirty or trap dust or dirt or moisture. Easier to clean. Also, I have a picture that points out that they're gasket sealed. So most windows are actually sealed with the putty tape. And I don't know if you can see it in that lower right-hand corner picture, the outside edge of the black frame where the putty has, dried. It dries, it cracks, it shrinks, and that's going to give you open up the potential for leaks, which you definitely want to avoid. So potentially more maintenance from there. Definitely more upkeep to keep them looking good. So the Rockwood frameless windows, they look great, but they do have a lot of advantages, and they're going to look great further down the road also. So it's just a real sharp looking rig. You combine the windshield with the frameless windows. It's a uniform appearance, looks really good, but they are expensive windows. I mean, this is just an example of how you're getting a lot more for your money in the Rockwood. I mean, if you're going to try to retrofit, even one window, you'd probably be looking at like $500 a window to go from a standard window to a frameless. Now, Rockwood gives you that from the factory at a much greater value. So you're getting more for the same, if not in some cases less money in the Rockwood compared to what other manufacturers give you. So definitely, this is just one more reason to look at the Rockwood. But these are things that I want to point out to you. So when you're shopping and you're looking at other brands, you can kind of go down the list and compare and see actually what you're missing in other products that you get complete in the Rockwood. Okay, so I'm going to close it out with the frameless windows. There's so much more I could talk about. I can make 100 more slides and spend several hours going over all the details with you, because there are so many unique things that you will find in the Rockwood product, and it's a complete product. It's all these things are in this one product. I mean, typically you're going to be looking at units that may have this or this and not that, or that one will have a few things, but it'll be missing something. So I mean, to get these features in a single product is something that you just won't find. These things too, I mean, they give you so much more value. You get so much more for your money. But again, it comes back to the unit being more complete, therefore being easier to use, therefore being more enjoyable to use. And it takes a lot of units and makes them fit or suitable for extended travels that wouldn't normally be fit for extended travels. Rockwood is a product that people typically appreciate for their second or third purchase. There's a lot of things that people don't know to look for, and they end up buying an inferior unit and start finding out the things that it happens to be missing. So they'll be wanting to trade that unit in on a higher quality product such as this. So if you've never RV'd before, this will be very helpful to you to kind of take a look at some of these main things and compare them to other products you may be considering. Again, it's a tendency for a lot of folks to start shopping online, and you're going to see a lot of manufacturers have similar floor plans. They look great in the literature, or they look great in the factory stock photos. But when you walk into these units, that's when you're going to notice a difference. Maybe the slides aren't as deep. Maybe there's, the fit and finish isn't anywhere near as good. The cabinetry, they're flimsy cabinets with inferior components. You don't have the drawers or the doors or the storage. You don't have the frameless windows or the front windshield or the torsion axles. So there's just so much in the Rockwoods. When you see them in person, you're going to be able to see the quality and feel the quality. So I'm going to try to cut it off here. Just thanks for watching. Just keep in mind, again, no dealer fees, free dealer prep, wholesale pricing at Tropical RV Sales. Thanks a lot for taking a look at the video, and I hope we see you on the lot. Have a